Alright, tonight we're going to make a recipe that I kind of developed for myself that my family really enjoys. I use noodles, peppers, onions. Usually I use a sausage, but tonight I'm going to make chicken meatballs for it, as my dad, who doesn't really care to eat pork or beef, I thought this would be a great alternative for that. So I'm going to start off by using 2 pounds of ground chicken. Just get them into here, and then get the paper out of there because we don't want any extra chewy pieces in our meatballs. In here I have a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of celery salt, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. That's going to be my seasoning for this. I also have bread that I've dried out because I'm going to need a bit of a binder for the ground chicken. It tends to be a lot more moist and wet, so I need something to help pull it together. Okay, I got all the breadcrumbs crushed up into there. I make the breadcrumbs really simply by dehydrating the bread in a microwave. I put it on at 45 seconds at a time on a piece of paper towel. Turn on the microwave, let it go around. When it's done, I flip it over, and I keep doing that until it gets right dried out. You got to keep an eye on it though, or else it'll go black real quick. The last couple things I'm going to add into my meatballs is a teaspoon of sesame seed oil and 2 teaspoons of cooking sherry. And it'll be 1.5, I guess, and then we'll call that 2. Now I'm going to just mix this all up together, adding a little bit of moisture because I don't want my chicken to dry out, but adding the breadcrumbs just so that it all sticks together and doesn't just flatten out while it's baking in the oven. And I like to bake it in the oven versus frying it on the stove. Frying it on the stove would be an alternative option, but the baking in the oven would be a bit healthier of a way to do it. So I'll get this mixed up, and then we'll start forming the balls and getting them onto the cookie sheet there. Alright, I'm just going to form some meatballs here with my spoons. I don't want them too big. They will shrink a little bit, but I just form them onto the spoon, kind of roll them between the 2 spoons, get them into a bit of a, I'm not going for a perfectly round, I'm going more for an oval, such like an egg shape. It'll take a little bit of time to get this all done, but that's okay. It's all worth it at the end. Okay, we just got one more to do here, and then we'll have all our little meatball torpedoes there all ready to go. Get them on the pan. Put this over here, and as you can see, we made quite a few. So we'll get these in the oven at about 385. It'll probably take about 20 minutes, but not much longer than that. Okay, so we're gonna finish making our peppers with our chicken meatballs with the ingredients I use now to make the sauce. I've got some sweet Vidalia onions, fresh garlic, red and green pepper, chili flakes, and then I'll season with a little bit of salt and pepper as we're finishing up and finalizing the dish. So, just going to start off by slicing up some onion. I don't want the slices to be too small because I'm going to use an egg noodle, so it'll be a longer. I want to keep my onion slices somewhat a little bit longer too. So I'm just going to make 3 quick cuts, and then I don't want them too small, but I don't want them too thick. So I'll just finish slicing these onions up, and I'll move on to the garlic and the peppers. Now remember, again, I have 10 people in my family, so I make larger portions, larger amounts. But for the average person, you could probably cut everything back to 1/3 if you were kind of just cooking for 2 to 3 people. But next I'm going to move to some garlic. I just want a coarse chop. I don't mind having pieces of garlic in my food, We actually enjoy garlic. Most of my meals do involve fresh garlic. So I'm just going to give a coarse chop to some of the garlic over here, and then when I'm done that, we'll get into the peppers. Okay, so now we're going to switch over to the peppers. I got my garlic and onions already chopped, so we're just going to get into the peppers. I've got red and green. Two reasons for that: it adds a bit of color to your dish, but also the red peppers are a tad bit sweeter, I find, than green peppers. But at the end of the day, they all taste good. I like to make sure I get all the seeds out. Also, while I've been chopping my vegetables and getting ready to make my sauce, I've also got my water here on boil. So that way, as I'm making my sauce, I'll be able to actually cook the noodles and get them into the sauce so that everything comes together nicely. So I'll start with these. I'll get my peppers. I'm not going to go too small, but you want to be able to pick them up with the noodles at the same time. So nice size slices, and we'll get these all cut up, and then we'll start putting our sauce together. Okay, so I got my garlic, my onions, and my peppers all chopped up. There's a decent amount of peppers here, but that's basically your main vegetable in this dish. What we're going to do now is we're going to add about maybe 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We'll call that 1. Call that 2. I'm going to start off by putting in my onions. Just going to give that a little toss around, get them all coated up. So we're just going to saute this up. Once it starts to brown up a little bit, I'm going to add the garlic into it. There we go. Get the garlic in there too. I've said this once, I'll say it again, and I'll say it every time. Nothing smells better than fresh garlic and onions sauteing in a pan. Can easily bring people out of their bedrooms and going, hey, what's for dinner? When's dinner? Give that a little tap, get these off. Just going to add a little bit of fresh salt and pepper, and we're just going to let these saute for a minute. Alright, so we've let the onions and garlic saute down a little bit. So now I'm going to add my green and red pepper, and again, it's a lot, but this is what helps make the dish. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper into there. And again, the difference in the peppers, you want to saute them down. The difference in the peppers though, again, red tends to be a little bit more sweeter. Green tends to be a little bit more, I'm not going to say pungent, but just has a slightly different taste, maybe a little less sweet. But it also adds a lot of nice color to this dish. So we're going to let these peppers and onions and garlic saute down for a few minutes, and then I'll add the sauce. But before I add the sauce, I'm going to show you, I do cheat. I use sweet and sour VH sweet and sour sauce. To me, it's the best tasting sauce. I can make my own, which I do at times, but this, for convenience, it's something my family actually enjoys, and it makes not too sweet, not too sour, really nice, and it goes well with the meats that we cook with this dish. Okay, so the peppers and that are still sauteing. I'm going to saute them probably for about 5 or 6 minutes. I don't want them to be mushy, but I want them to be very tender. So I'm going to grab out the chicken meatballs that we made earlier, and I'm going to start putting them into the pot. I want these to enhance the flavor of the sauce and take on some of the flavors of the garlic and peppers as well. Okay, I've been cooking the chicken meatballs, peppers, and onions together now, probably for about a total of 10 minutes, once adding everything in. I do have chili flakes to add, but I don't add those until I don't add the chili flakes in until I actually finish adding the sauce. If you add the chili flakes too early, for people that don't really care for very spicy, the chili flakes will bleed into your sauce more, causing it to be a lot hotter. If you add it in towards the end, you'll get more of a heat as you bite into a chili flake, so it won't be so hard on everyone, I guess you could say. It doesn't actually heat up the entire sauce with spice. So we'll just add these in here. Again, 3 jars for the amount I have, amount of people I have. I'm going to give this a little stir. This isn't like a heavy spaghetti sauce. This is more of a coating. So it'll coat all of our noodles nicely. And now I can add my chili flakes. Again, I'm adding about 2 tablespoons full. But if you like it not as spicy, you could add a 1/4 teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon, depends on what you like. And of course, you can always bring hot sauce to the table, and then people can add it as they want. So we're just going to let this kind of come to a small simmer. Probably take about 2 or 3 more minutes, and then we'll get the noodles into the pot, and we'll be able to bring this all together. Okay, I've just switched the pots over. The larger burner is over here for boiling. So now I'm going to add my noodles. Again, because of my lactose intolerance, I love to use no yolk egg noodles. They're very tasty. Get them in here. We'll get them stirred up. They'll probably boil for about 8 to 10 minutes. And then we'll be able to add the sauce to the noodles, stir it up a little bit, and we'll get it served out to everyone. Just want to make a mention quickly on the chili flakes. If you prefer not to have any chili flakes in this dish, that's absolutely not a problem. I like to add just that little bit of heat with the sweetness of the sweet and sour sauce. You could always put the chili flakes on the table. People could add them as they want, or add more. If you like 3 tablespoons of chili flakes, do what you want. It's up to you. Okay, we're going to strain off our noodles here. Again, you don't want these to be overcooked because they'll technically cook a little bit in the sauce as we bring the dish together. And I don't want my noodles to become mush and break all apart. Sorry, I'm going a little slow here because I don't want it to splash all over. But we'll get these poured out. I do not want to rinse them because I want them to stay a little bit sticky, so that way the sauce will adhere to them better. Okay, so we're going to add the sauce now into the noodles. I'm just going to slide this out a little bit more. Get all that in there. Sounds wonderful, doesn't it? Get all the good bits, all the peppers. Okay, there we go. We have our egg noodles, chicken meatballs, peppers, onions, garlic. Hope you enjoy. Come back again next week. Thank you very much.